hate post, and to embrace the both culture shift, and both the evaluation of the technology. Hollywood had turned itself into a global powerhouse of storytelling, and it become more iconic and more specific to others. So the three main important aspects is the change and the restrictions of the whole hate codes, and the change of shift cultures, and more development of technologies. This raised the freedoms of storytelling and make the movements of the film industries more interesting and have more creative ways for the filmmakers to make the films appear better, have a better visions for audience. So from 1960s, the film industries were cutting edge to modern days that we have a better productions for audience seeing all those films. So first of all, let us talk about hate codes. So hate codes actually is a guideline and a set of rules that tell the filmmakers what you can show and what you cannot show for the audience. And from the year of 1930s, it's banned for profanity, sex, and some visual violence things for the audience, and include that good guys always win and bad guys always lose, and cannot say something swearing and something offended to the audience, because this is to create a movie that this is created so that the movie will be more suitable and decent for the audience and make them feel like not being offended when they are looking and watching, enjoying this movie. At the year of 1960s, the society has changed towards our taste. And the audience realized that they really like something, stories that are realistic and more near to our real life. So the filmmakers also try very hard to make some films under the restricted and outdated rules. And at the year of 1968, hate codes will be replaced by current filmmaking systems, which called MPAA. MPAA is also called Motions Picture Associate of Americans, and it has 5 categories, which is G, PG, PG-13, R, and NC-17. So this film rating system is to tell the audience and parents to have a guidelines that what is in the movies and what age appropriate is it, like preventing the parents to bring their child to see something very sensitive to them and not suitable for their age. End of these hate codes allows a filmmaker to push the boundaries and creating a more creative stories with the real life experience more than some old school rules. And next, let's talk about culture shift. So, the society has kept changing until now, this trend, and it has a major transformations in our decades too. The civic rights movement, the feminist movements, and the rates of the culture change have a big impact of storytelling that Hollywood is telling us today. Think about the movies of anti-heroes, and they have gained a big momentum of 1960s to 1970s too. The imperfect and complex of the main character with who that much to tell us, let us be more connected and have more imaginations of the superheroes that really not, actually it's not really exist in the real life. For example, the very good actors of taxi drivers is called Trey Whitaker's Bonnie and Clyde. And this strays away from traditional moral tales, and it show audience and let the audience think that something is more profound, more questions too. And from the 1980s to the 1990s, the of the joy, love, and do the right thing. This is reflects of the experience of the other cultures and perspectives too. And the trend now is like more to superhero, for example, Black Panther and the Crazy Rich Asians, and celebrating the diverse of cultural prides too. And we also have a changed gender or different roles in film Hollywood industry. And for information, actually that from 1971, the black filmmakers, they have started to mark themselves in Hollywood film industry to show themselves. And a lot of females that they prove themselves, for example, Murray Smith and Viola Davis. Actually, she is a black girl, and but she proved herself that I can just be as strong as a man on screen. Last, let's talk about CGI. More specifically, CGI is called computer generated imagery, and most of the special effects during the last times is more to physical tricks, actions, kung fu, and some painted green screen backgrounds. And at the year of 1973, the very first CGI movie is called The West World. And for our decades, that we know that a lot of CGI's movie, for example, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and the audience they were very shocked with the special and the arts of the CGI's technology too. But now, because we can see a lot of different creatures that we had never imagined before, and stories that we never tried to get it to. At the year of 2000s, CGI had become a standard tool for the filmmakers to make their films more interesting and more realistic, and maybe more imaginary. For example, the movie of Lord of Rings, Avatar, they has set a new standard of CGIs on the screen. Now, most of the blockbusters, they have the movies like superhero, animated movies like Frozen. Although there was some audience thinks that CGI is making films like less real, but it's actually an incredible way for filmmakers and us to have imagination as something we never ever imagined before. Okay, indeed, Hollywood is incredible in the restriction of the replacement of head codes and push the boundaries to make the filmmakers to have a more wider place and latitude for them making better films. And the shift of culturing will let everyone have the chance to show themselves and share their ideas to the audience. And the technology of CGI is making all the films making more interesting and more catchy. And last but not least, remember that film is not just entertainment for us. It also represents someone's dreams, our moral values, and our interests. Okay, thank you. Do anyone have any questions? Yes, thank you for your questions, and I would recommend you guys to go watch The Paralyzed of South Korea, which put up in 2019. Actually, the genre of the movie is talking about dark comedy, and it's telling us that the difference of the classes of rich families and the poor families. That you can see the poor families is trying to parasite on the rich families to get more money and more benefits from them. It's quite interesting, and actually I watched like five times to understand that the real meaning inside the movies too. That's all.